Chicago Cubs, photo by Norm Hall, Getty Images. At long last, baseball's slow-moving offseason is nearly over. The Chicago Cubs hosted their first full workout on Monday, and the team will play their first game of 2019 this weekend. No MLB team is looking forward to baseball games actually being played again more so than the Cubs. The team's much-anticipated offseason became nothing more than a source of frustration for fans. The Cubs' refusal to spend big this winter was coupled with seemingly never-ending off-the-field issues. While spring training should bring some excitement for those dying to hear the pop of a mitt or a crack of a bat, that excitement can quickly wane, simply because the results on the field don't matter. It's easy to get excited about your team's success or a prospect's great statistics in the Cactus League, but those things don't typically translate to success during the regular season. Last spring, the Baltimore Orioles finished with a 17-12 record, the third best mark in the Grapefruit League. In the regular season, the Orioles went 47-115, good for a .290 winning percentage. They became the first team since 2003 to win less than 50 games. Do you know who led all batters in ops during spring training in 2018? Former Cub Dan Vogelbach. He had a 1.455 ops last spring, yet proceeded to post a .691 ops in limited action with the Seattle Mariners in the regular season. If team record doesn't matter and a player's statistics don't matter, what does? Usually, it's the little things. Does that player who missed most of last year look healthy? Has the aging pitcher lost any of his velocity? Is that batter's new stance generating more power? How does that pitcher's new slider look? These kinds of things are what fans should be focused on in spring training, not traditional measures of success like batting average or ERA. With the Cubs taking the field for the first time this weekend, here are 4 things to keep your eye on this spring. Next, can last year's big addition find success in 2019? Page 2 Chicago Cubs, photo by Matthew Stockman, Getty Images. Last winter, the Cubs bet big on Yu Darvish, inking him to a 6-year, $126 million contract. Based on last year alone, the deal isn't shaping up too well for the Cubs, although there's plenty of time for the 4-time All-Star to turn things around. Darvish started just 8 games for the Northsiders last year before missing the rest of the season with tendinitis in his right tricep. Even when Darvish was on the mound, he wasn't his usual self. His 4.95 ERA, 4.86 FIP, and 15.5 kBP% were all the worst of his career. Because of his struggles in his lone season on the north side, it's easy for Cubs fans to forget just how good Darvish was prior to his injury-plagued 2018 campaign. Luckily for the Cubs, Darvish should be a prime candidate to bounce back strong in 2019. After Tommy John surgery forced him to miss the entirety of the 2015 season, Darvish ranked 25th in ERA, 14th in FIP, 7th in K%, and 6th in kBP% among all pitchers who rack up at least 250 innings in 2016 and 2017. Cubs fans were excited to add Darvish as the rotation ace heading into last season, and they should be just as happy about having him this year. All reports from the team and Darvish himself are optimistic, but the real test will be when he takes the mound for game action during spring training. Some things to keep your eye on this spring are: does he look comfortable and pain-free while throwing? Is he mechanically sound and back to his pre-injury form? Are his pitches moving well? Is he still throwing his fastball around 95 miles per hour? If Darvish can answer those 4 questions with a yes this spring, look for him to return to elite status in 2019, the ace of the Cubs rotation and a top 15 starter in the league. Next, can a former MVP rebound this year? Page 3 Chicago Cubs, photo by Jonathan Daniel, Getty Images. Just 2 years removed from an MVP season, most of the hype surrounding Kris Bryant has died down. Prolonged shoulder issues in 2018 limited Bryant to 102 games and caused his production at the plate to plummet. One fluky season was enough to make Cubs fans forget just how good Bryant is. Before he got hurt in 2018, Bryant was slashing an incredible .305, .427, .583, all of which would have been the highest marks of his career. May 19, the date of Bryant's initial shoulder injury, he led the National League in WRC at 169. That means Bryant created runs at a rate 69% above league average. As you can see, contrary to popular belief, Bryant didn't stagnate or decline in 2018. He was actually playing the best baseball of his career until a nagging shoulder injury halted his incredible season. Eventually, Bryant did get back on the field, but he was never his typical self at the plate. After the injury, Bryant posted just a 96 WRC, meaning he produced runs at a rate 4% below league average. The biggest difference in Bryant's production pre- and post-injury were his power numbers. Before getting hurt, Bryant was slugging a career-high .583 last season. After the injury, that number fell over 200 points to .382. While fans have been frustrated with the Cubs' stagnant offseason, Bryant has been quietly rehabbing his shoulder. The 2016 NL MVP says he's healthy and ready to go in 2019. I feel like the offseason was the time to ease into it, which I did. This is the time to go. There is no easing into it. I'm ready to go, full steam ahead. It's not like I'm going to be swinging for the fences. But anytime I take the baseball field, whether it's a spring training game or national game, I'm looking to do damage. And that's kind of my mindset this year. Adding a healthy Bryant back to the Cubs lineup is a complete game changer. Remember, he was the best hitter in the National League before hurting his shoulder during a headfirst slide on May 19. Fans don't need to be concerned with the batting numbers that Bryant produces during spring training, but they should be looking at these things. Early videos out of camp show Bryant back to his old swing. Is he swinging like he used to during games? Is he finishing his swing with one hand on the bat instead of two? Is he showing some pop at the plate and driving the ball in the air? Does he look pain-free while swinging? If Bryant can get back to his early 2018 form, the Cubs just added the best hitter in the league back to a lineup that desperately needed it late last year. Next, can one of the Cubs' best relievers be more consistent in 2019? Page 4 Chicago Cubs, photo by John Durr, Getty Images, Carl Edwards Jr. Has all the talent in the world, but his lack of control has made him unusable at times. When he's on, Edwards is one of the best relievers not just on the Cubs but in all of the league. In his first 47 appearances of 2018, Edwards was lights out. In those 45 innings, he posted a 2.20 ERA and had a 20.7 KBB%. The final 11 games of his season were a totally different story. In those games, all coming in the middle of the playoff race in September, Edwards lost all semblance of control. During that stretch, his ERA was a miserable 5.14 and his KBB% was minus 7.9%. He walked a batter in all but one of his appearances that month. Having vastly different outcomes during the same season isn't anything new for Edwards. He had similar stretches in 2017. In that season, Edwards had a 1.07 ERA and a 26.3 KBB% from the start of the season through June 11. From June 12 through August 11, he lost command of his pitches and had a 6.86 ERA and a 9.7 KBB%. Edwards then regained control, posting a 1.25 ERA and 29.7 KBB% from August 11 until the end of the regular season. Edwards has the tools to be one of the game's elite relief pitchers, but his unpredictable stretches have kept him from fully realizing that potential. In an effort to get more control over his pitchers, Edwards changed his delivery this offseason, incorporating a hesitation, just like one of the game's best closers. Carl Edwards Jr. said, yes, he studied Kenley Jansen's delivery this offseason and incorporated the hesitation over the rubber. Hope is that it helps hone his command of the zone. Twitter.com/cutesnewoxamid Jordan Bastian at ML Bastion, February 14, 2019. With his new delivery, here are a few things to watch for. Is he stable and keeping his momentum going towards the plate with this new delivery? Is he hitting the catcher's target spot more regularly? When he misses his spot, is he missing close or does the pitch end up nowhere near the intended target? If this change in his pitching motion brings Edwards more consistency on the mound, he'll quickly become the best bullpen arm on the team. Next, can last year's fifth starter earn a spot on the MLB squad? Page 5. Use your arrows to browse Chicago Cubs. Photo by Justin Burrell, Getty Images. Heralded as one of last year's best change of scenery free agent signings, the Cubs and their fans had high expectations for Tyler Chatwood since he'd finally be pitching outside of batter's paradise Coors Field. It didn't take long for that excitement about the possibility of a huge improvement from Chatwood to wane. Chatwood walked 6 batters in his first start, and it never got any better. Chatwood started 20 games for the Cubs and made 4 appearances out of the bullpen once he was mercifully removed from the team's starting rotation. His 5.30 ERA was bad, but Chatwood's 8.25 BB9 rate is what really stands out. Of all pitchers with at least 100 innings thrown in 2018, his BB9 rate is the worst by a mile. Hector Santiago's 5.29 rate is the second worst, nearly 3 whole walks below Chatwood. The 29-year-old righty talked about his struggles in 2018 with Mark Gonzalez of the Chicago Tribune. "I was just trying way too hard. Normally you want to be free and easy. But when you know there's something going on wrong and you're trying to fix it, you're mentally grinding more on that and putting more effort into stuff than I normally have." With 2 years and $25.5 million still owed to Chatwood, the Cubs are hoping that an off-season of work will get him back to at least a usable level. In fact, Chatwood says he fixed a mechanical flaw in his delivery where he was jabbing his right hand towards third base as he was getting ready to deliver his pitch. This spring, keep an eye on the following things when Chatwood takes the rubber. Is he regularly throwing the first pitch of an at-bat for a strike? His 50% first pitch strike rate was dead last in the majors in 2018. When he gets in a jam, can he confidently work out of it or does he spiral out of control? If Chatwood can re-establish himself as a consistent strike thrower, he should be a front-runner for one of the final bullpen spots. Plus, he'll surely get a handful of starts over the course of the year. Next, 3 reasons the Cubs would benefit from the DH. His 2018 season is one that Cubs fans wish they could forget, but Chatwood still has time to prove that his contract won't be an albatross for the next 2 years. Use your arrows to browse